everything changes.
Hey you guys, what is going on? And welcome back to Black Entertainment. Thanks once again, you guys, for tuning into yet another one of my videos. This is a very highly requested video. A lot of you guys know that I recently purchased a brand new Scuf controller. This is going to be a non-sponsored, non-paid for, I ain't getting shit review for you guys. I'm going to let you guys know, is it worth it? Is the design good? Is the quality good? Is the function good? And most of all, is it actually worth the price tag? Let's get right into it, you guys. Alright you guys, so to start things off, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the Scuf controller I purchased. That way we are on the same exact page. So to start things off, you can obviously see that we got the Scuf One controller for the Xbox One. All I did is I just got the custom white faceplate, got the normal buttons, got the normal joysticks. The reason behind me getting the normal joysticks is because I didn't want to potentially get something that I did not enjoy. I use Control Freaks personally. I know a lot of people do use Control Freaks. So if I were you, I would personally stick with the normal joysticks. That way you can buy Control Freaks that are short length, medium length, long length. That way if you do order, say, a joystick that is long length and you don't like it, you're not screwed in the long run. With a Control Freak, you could easily take that right off. So that was my reasoning behind getting just the normal joysticks. After that, let's flip it over. I obviously got the trigger stops with the Scuf controller. I think that's a pretty mandatory thing to get with the Scuf. Got the two paddles. What I did with the two paddles is I got the remapping ability. That way I could remap these paddles to any button on the controller. I think it was like $20–25 more for that. I thought it was a good idea for the long run. That way if you ever want to change up the paddles, $25 really isn't that big of a deal, and you can remap those paddles to do any function for any of these buttons. So I thought that was great. I've already changed it up since I got the controller, so I'm very happy that I did get the electro-remapping with the Scuf. Also, I did get the Scuf grip. I will try to show you guys. I was very weary about getting the Scuf grip because I heard it is actually a little bit bulky, and that's what I was really worried about. But upon further playing, I know it's like supposed to stop sweat, but if you're sweating, you're sweating. It doesn't matter. This is not going to help you out that much. I mean, yeah, it's going to help you out more than just normal plastic, but if your hands get really sweaty, no grip is going to help if your hands get super sweaty. So if you sweat, you sweat. This might help a little bit, but it's probably not even that noticeable. And personally, I don't even sweat that much when I game, so it's not really a problem for me. But the Scuf grip just really feels nice, and I'm really happy that I actually did purchase the Scuf grip. So if you are interested in getting the Scuf controller, I would definitely recommend the Scuf grip, and I would definitely recommend the electro-remapping, because if you're already spending that much money for purchasing a Scuf, you might as well get these two options. Alright, so now that we got an overview of the Scuf controller I purchased, let's go over the first topic I want to go over, and that is design. How is the controller designed, and is it a good design? Personally, I do not have the biggest hands in the world, so when I do play, I used to play Xbox like this. Now with the Scuf, I have to completely move my hands over a little bit, which makes my trigger fingers really awkward, and this allows me to hit these triggers back here, which again are remappable. You could jump with this one, you could crouch with this one, so forth and so forth. So I basically had to move my controllers completely over, again because of the fact that I do have smaller hands. So there was definitely a little bit of a larger learning curve, I could say, and I can honestly say when I first got the controller and I was playing a little bit different, it was really awkward, and I was not a fan of the controller at all. But again, that is why I waited a full week to do this review. That way I had plenty hands-on time with the Scuf controller. And now that I'm getting used to playing a little bit differently, I can honestly say that I really do enjoy the design, and it's a very solid controller in my opinion. I really like how these are down here. You could click these, you could click them up here towards the middle, and also with the trigger stops, they seem very durable. So design, I'm going to give this controller a solid 9.5 out of 10. Because it's a very solid controller. The only reason I knocked it off 0.5 is because of the learning curve you have to get if, of course, you do have smaller hands like me. Again, we're going to go over just something very quick, and that is the quality of the controller. How is everything, like durability-wise? Does everything feel right? Nothing really feels fake or misplaced, because if you guys know, if you purchased, say, like an off-market Xbox controller, a lot of you guys know that they will feel a little bit fake. They will feel a little bit fragile, if you want to say. With the Scuf controller, I can say that it feels very durable. These paddles back here, if you try to move them left or right, they don't move. They are very durable in that matter, and I really like that. These triggers, again, with the trigger stops, very durable. Even if you push down on these triggers very hard, they're very durable. Paint seems very durable. Scuf grip seems very durable. So overall, if I have to go with quality of the controller, I'm going to give the quality of the Scuf controller a solid 10 out of 10. Alright, so let's go over the function of the Scuf controller. Like, how does the Scuf function compared to, let's say, a normal Xbox One controller, or again, if you have a PS3 or a PS4, Xbox 360, this all goes hand to hand. How does the normal controller compete with the Scuf controller? So, as we all know, the Scuf controller starts off by having trigger stops. These things are actually really awesome. Personally, I have a very slow trigger finger, and going from only pressing that much to fire a gun is amazing compared to, let me get my other controller, this much. Like this one, you goes all the way down, and if we compare that to the Scuf, you barely have to click down. Let me try to get this in the camera. Boom, that's all it goes. It saves so much. That's like a quarter of the way to normal. So if you are a slow trigger finger like myself, when you are firing a semi-automatic weapon, these things come in handy because you could click it so much faster. So trigger stops, absolutely awesome. That's a great function of the Scuf controller. Again, the Scuf grip doesn't really add too much to the controller, just maybe a little bit of comfortability. So this is kind of something you can do without. Maybe if you wanted a little rubbery feel, you can definitely go with that. It doesn't affect how you play with the controller. It's just comfortability. And if you actually like the Scuf grip, which I said earlier, I really do enjoy the Scuf grip. So I was very happy to get that. Then the main part of the controller is the little paddles back here. So how do these function compared to a normal Xbox One controller, or again, another controller in general? They actually work out quite well. They're actually, I was very surprised on how much it actually helped in certain situations, because obviously I'm going to try to turn around a little bit. If you wanted to shoot and look at somebody and jump around all at the same time, obviously you got to move from thumbstick to button to jump around, back to thumbstick, back to button, crouch, back to thumbstick, all that good stuff. Now with this, you can always keep your thumb on that joystick because everything is on the back of the controller. So you never have to leave that natural position because you have your buttons back here that you use the most. Again, like I said earlier, I would definitely recommend the electro-remapping. That way, maybe if you like to reload a little bit different, you can reload with that button or something. It doesn't matter. Whatever plays with your playstyle, basically. Whatever suits your playstyle best, electro-remapping will help you out with that. But I have noticed that it really does help me in certain situations, especially with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, since you could jump around with these buttons. It definitely helps me out in certain situations, and it allows me to be a little bit more accurate on the sticks. So function of the controller with the paddles and everything, I'm going to have to give that a solid 10 out of 10, because although there is a slight learning curve, I mean, it's honestly going to take you probably, I would say 1 to 2 weeks to get used to the controller. After you get used to using the Scuf controller, after you get used to hitting these paddles instead of using buttons, which let me say is actually a lot more difficult than you would think at first, I'm going to give it a solid 10 out of 10 function-wise. Alright, you guys, then last up we have the price of the Scuf controller. This is a huge topic among Scuf controllers. A lot of people think they're overpriced. A lot of people can't afford the controller. I was lucky enough to actually be able to purchase the controller to give you guys a solid review. Like I said, non-sponsored. I didn't get sent this controller. I bought this controller with my hard-earned money. So price, it's going to range anywhere from, I would say, about $150 to $200 for a Scuf controller. Again, it depends if you get the Scuf grip. It depends on the colors you get. It depends if you get a certain color LED. It depends if you get 4 paddles compared to 2. It depends if you get the electro-remapping. Like I said, I mean, you could honestly probably easily go over $200 with a Scuf controller compared to a normal controller, which costs around $60. Or you can get them on sale. You could get them for probably $45 to $60, let's say, is the base price for a normal controller for an Xbox One or a PS4. Whereas if you buy a Scuf controller, you are going to be paying $150 to, we're going to say $225 for a controller, which in my opinion is absolutely ridiculous. Although this controller does help you out in certain situations, although this controller is very, very well built, I feel that the Scuf controllers should not even be close to that of a price. I would say it should run for $100 or $125. Don't get me wrong, I know these things probably have a lot of work going into it. I know that they probably individually make these per order, like they're not just mass built, they build them specifically for you. So for that, I do understand why it's going to cost a little bit more, but basically tripling or even quadrupling the price of a normal controller, in my opinion, is absolutely ridiculous. So for that, the price of the Scuf controller is going to deter a lot of people away from buying it, and that is why I put off from buying a Scuf for so long, because of the price. So for price, obviously I'm going to have to give that like a 3 out of 10. That is the main reason why I would not purchase a Scuf, is because of the price. Now, is it actually worth the price? I'm sure that's what a lot of you guys know. Is the Scuf controller in the long run worth the price tag? Honestly, this is kind of hard to say. If you are a little bit tight on money, if you don't really have a lot of money to spend, if maybe you've been saving your money for so long and you do not have a lot of cash on you, is the Scuf controller? Honestly, probably not. I would say the Scuf controller is not worth the price tag, because although it does help you out in certain situations, how much is this really going to benefit you? Is it worth getting 5 extra kills? Is it worth tacking on another 0.5 to your KD? This is something you really got to think about. If maybe you have a YouTube channel, or you're growing a YouTube channel and you want to get these little bit better of gameplays, then yeah, it's going to help you out in that matter. But is that something you should base upon when purchasing a Scuf controller? Obviously, if you're a pro gamer, the Scuf controller is going to help you out greatly, because it's going to help you out in certain situations. But how many of us watching this video are actually pro gamers and get paid for playing Call of Duty? This is something I would really think about if you were thinking about purchasing a Scuf controller. Do I think it is worth the price tag of $180 to $225? Absolutely not. I don't think the Scuf is worth it. So, honestly, if it comes down to you purchasing a Scuf controller, if you are tight on money, if you don't have the most money to put towards a Scuf controller, I wouldn't do it. I don't think it is worth it for you. If you do have a solid job, if you are financially stable, and you can shell out an extra $200, and you really want the controller, then absolutely go for it. It might be worth it for you. It will increase your gameplays a little bit, not substantially, just a little bit. So for that matter, is the Scuf controller worth it? It really depends. It depends on your financial bracket. It depends if you have the money for it. If you're tight on money, don't buy a Scuf controller. Trust me, it is not worth the price tag for that price if you are tight on pricing. So there you guys go. That is my overall review of the controller. If you have any more comments or questions about the controller, be sure to comment them down below, and I will gladly answer them in the comment section. Also, one more thing I want to tack on is the shipping for the Scuf controller is absolutely ridiculous. I do believe Scuf is located in the States, and I personally do live in California, and it took almost a month to receive my Scuf controller, which I feel is absolutely ridiculous. And that's another thing I'm going to give a negative review about for the Scuf controller, is it does take forever. So if you do order a Scuf controller, let me pre-warn you that the shipping is going to take a long time, and it's going to be a while before you actually do receive your Scuf controller. So there you guys go. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, design very solid. I'm going to give that a 9.5. Quality is a solid 10 out of 10. It's very well built. Function of the controller, I'm going to give that another 10 in the function category. Everything is placed really well, everything feels really solid, and the function of the controller is another 10 out of 10. Then going on to the price, again, I'm going to have to give that a 3 out of 10, because I feel like these Scuf controllers are very overpriced. Even if you get a discount code, you're only going to save like $7-8, so it's really not that much. So there you guys go. Thanks for tuning in. This is your guys' review. I know you wanted it. Sorry about the longer video. I just really wanted to go over everything about the controller, because again, it's a hefty price. price. It has a hefty price tag, and I want to make sure to go over everything for you guys. That way you know if it's worth it for you or if it's not worth it for you. So yeah, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And also, before I end the video, I just want to tack something on really quick. If you do have an Instagram, I want you to head over to Commit Apparel over on Instagram. Make sure you spell apparel right. Very weird word. A lot of people spell that wrong. I'm starting up my own clothing company, so I'd really appreciate if you head over there and like up that Instagram page. So yeah, that's all I got to say in this video. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, you guys.